I can clearly remember, during my Christmas break, I took it upon myself to practice my baking skills and bake a cake all on my own, with no recipe and no guidance. So, of course, I did the prerequisite. I gathered my ingredients and my baking utensils, the pans, measuring tools, bowls, and the rest, more thrilled than ever to devour the scrumptious pastry that awaited me. Then, after all the measuring and mixing, the cake was finally done. But when I took that cake out of the oven, something was terribly erroneous with it, as it was crumbly and incredibly deflated. So, of course, I thought to myself, what could have gone wrong? And to my ever-delayed realization, every ingredient I used was expired. Expired by around 2 years. Evidently, it seemed I hadn't been baking for a while for a particular reason. But then again, I said to myself, I would really hate to look like that cake, so distasteful and repulsive. But what exactly could lead to such in a person? Well, it could be their upbringing, the sources they read or watch, but most especially the influence that people around them have infused. Hence, their relationships. That is why I, Ngozi Onyeacholem, am here to share with you the recipe for relationships, so we all make precise choices for healthy relationships. Now, unmistakably, I am not a certified expert in the field of relationships, whether romantic or platonic. Neither are my cooking skills phenomenal, as I've previously mentioned. But surely, I believe I'm equipped with enough experience to guide you with these simple steps. Step 1, remember your values and the principles that you believe in. The thing is, most relationships are formed to fulfill emotional needs, share experiences, and support each other, usually based on a foundation of personal interest and values. Now, this is what I like to call the ingredients to every relationship. Hence, it would be wise to gather your measuring tools and discover how each of your friends influence your lives positively and the values that they've introduced you to. Honestly, some may question the significance of this tactic, but while growing up, adults around me have always vocalized, "Show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are." Of course, young Ngozi was perplexed by this statement, constantly wondering what influence her friends had on her personal identity. Nevertheless, over the years of my growth, I've come to realize that the statement meant much more than how my friends dressed or how they simply looked physically. And like a burst of light illuminating my path, I now understand that the certain people you keep closest to yourself reflects your behavior and your ethical beliefs. Thus, do you spend time with the type of person who looks down on others, says pessimistic words, or makes you feel insecure? Or do you relate with those who offer others a helping hand when in need, encourage you to be the best version of yourself, and support you constantly? Now, by reflecting on your principles, you'll be able to uncover the people that present healthy ingredients, rather than rotten eggs or chunky milk that symbolize dishonesty and manipulation that could tarnish your relationships. Now, step 2, avoid the oppression of peer pressure. Imagine this. A girl named Thalia is a novice chef, like me, attempting to cook a plate of pasta for herself to enjoy. Meticulously, she has laid out all her necessary ingredients and utensils, especially with an accurate recipe she intends to follow. You see, in this situation, even her ingredients are perfectly healthy. However, the problem arises when her friends decide to crowd her kitchen and add their own ingredients to her dish, even when they don't quite fit in with the initial recipe she had in mind. From this perspective, you could say that peer pressure is like those friends who subdue your recipe for relationships with superfluous ingredients that alternate your original intentions. Thus, it is imperative to overcome peer pressure with steadfast adherence to personal boundaries while maintaining independence and confidence in a relationship. Yet, in a world increasingly tethered to technology and social media, our generation finds itself in a digital web where moments of genuine connection are often sacrificed at the altar of virtual validation. Now, please don't get me wrong. I'm also tired of hearing that teenagers nowadays are obsessed with social media and technology, as that's not always the case. But I just believe that it's time for us to wake up to our reality and realize that some of us may be relying on it excessively. I mean, can you imagine how many times I've gone out with my friends and instead of bonding over our previous experiences, we scrolled through our social feeds and laughed over funny videos online, all in the name of hanging out? Truthfully, it is a little embarrassing to admit. But reflecting on this digital obsession makes it evident that technology risks overshadowing authentic human interactions. So as teenagers, acknowledging this obsession is the first step towards reclaiming mutual connections and reforming bonds with those around us. Step 3. Finally, blend all your ingredients to create the ideal relationship. Now, have you ever finished preparing a meal and after the first taste, you realize that there's just something missing or a particular flavor overpowers the others? In a successful relationship, much like crafting a delicious dish, it is crucial to strike the right balance of ingredients and flavors to maintain harmony and cohesion. Just as a chef carefully chooses sweet or savory elements to create a well-rounded profile of flavor, individuals in a relationship must blend their traits in a congruous manner. Consequently, too much of a particular attribute, like dominance or passivity, could overpower the dynamic and make the relationship unbalanced or unsatisfying. Whereas just a pinch of salt enhances the overall taste of a meal without overpowering the general flavor of most meals. Hence, traits such as trust, empathy, and compromise add depth and richness to a relationship while creating and adding fulfilling, long-lasting connections. Now, considering all these steps, following a recipe for quality relationships is like navigating a well-charted course through the complexities of human authentication. Therefore, I advise you to balance your relationships with healthy communication, compassion, loyalty, and mutual respect for the greater good. Isn't it remarkable how just a dash of patience, a pinch of understanding, and a sprinkle of love can transform the ordinary into the extraordinary, creating long-lasting relationships that stand the test of time? I'll leave you to ponder over that. Thank you.